DreAllDay.com. Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We'll make a video about this subject that I don't think a lot of y'all even know about, and if you do know about it, you probably notice very conspicuously that nobody's talking about it. And I wrote an article about this. It just came out to some people on my email list, people on different segments and stuff. But I wrote an article about this in mid-February, and the topic is there's a man in a woman's pool. Most of y'all have no idea this even going on. So there's this guy named Matthew Thomas. All right, he's a swimmer. And he's a swimmer from Texas, but he goes to school. He's a college swimmer at the University of Pennsylvania, which is in the city of Philadelphia. Now, Matthew, for 3 years, he was on the men's swimming team as a swimmer, just swimming in whatever they do on the swim team. I don't know nothing about swimming. Between his junior and senior years, because he's a senior right now, Matthew decided to transition from being a man to being a woman. So instead of being Matthew Thomas, now Matthew's name is Leah Thomas, L-I-A, Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas is now on the women's swim team at the University of Pennsylvania and has been kicking ass and taking names in the swimming pool, just beating everybody because Leah is a fucking man swimming against women and winning. Now here's the thing. Nobody's talking about this. This is the part that it makes me very curious, but at the same time, it's kind of like we already know what the deal is. Nobody's talking about this because, number one, if you were to talk about this, and this is why the swimmers on the University of Pennsylvania's team, the girls, nobody's saying anything publicly. People have said stuff, but they said it anonymously. They won't put their names behind it because if they do, they're going to get labeled transphobic, and they'll probably get run off the campus. And at an Ivy League school where everything's about the connections and the relationships and the politics, you don't want to be labeled transphobic, especially on a college campus that's very progressive and very woke, and you can't say or do anything that looks like you're going against anything that is with that rainbow flag, that LGBTQ flag. So nobody is talking about it on the swim team at University of Pennsylvania. The administration at the school has said they strongly support Leah Thomas. They strongly support it. Nobody's going against it. We're 100% for it. So they're 100% in on this. A man can just decide that they're a woman and swim with the women's team and be beating all the women, and nobody better not say anything or there's going to be problems. That wasn't said explicitly, but everybody understands the threat of what's going to happen if you say the wrong thing about this situation. Even in the media, those of you who follow sports, ESPN, what are they saying about it? Y'all don't even know about it. You watch ESPN. Why has ESPN not done a segment about this on First Take? Why haven't we heard what Stephen A. Smith has had to say about this? Why haven't they opened up SportsCenter talking about that? They haven't talked about it at all. They said absolutely nothing about this subject. Why is this? Y'all tell me. Because here's the thing with ESPN. You might think to yourself, you might say, well, it's just swimming, Dre. When does ESPN ever talk about swimming? Other than Michael Phelps or the Olympics, they're usually not talking about swimming. So why would they talk about this, Dre? Well, here's my answer. When George Floyd happened in the summer of 2020, George Floyd don't play no basketball. George Floyd's not an athlete. George Floyd was a regular dude in the streets on drugs, doing whatever it was he was doing. He got killed by a cop. That didn't have anything to do with sports whatsoever. But ESPN dedicated a lot of airtime to talking about it. True or not? Yes, they did. When Kyle Rittenhouse, white guy, shoots 3 white people in Wisconsin, goes to trial for murder, beats the case, gets found not guilty, ESPN took a segment of their basketball show, and they had, I forget the woman's name, I think it was Malika Andrews, Richard Jefferson, and what's the other guy's name? Kendrick Perkins. They had them talking about it. Why are they talking about it? They're not legal experts. They're not white. They're not from the place that it happened. They were not involved in what happened. Why are they even talking about it? No reason. Because ESPN wanted to insert themselves into these social conversations. That's what ESPN has decided that they are. They're going to talk about these social issues that have nothing to do with actual sports, but they want to inject themselves and have their athletes talk about it or their personalities talk about it. Why? Because they just happen to be black. Okay, so now we have a situation of a man transitioning to a woman, or deciding, they just decided that they're a woman. So now don't call me Matt, call me Leah. I'm a woman. I'm gonna get on the girls' swim team, and is kicking the girls' asses on the swim team. Whether Matthew is winning or not on the swim team, or Leah, whatever you want to call him. Let's call him Leah. If Leah is winning or not, it has nothing to do with it. The fact that I know about it is because Leah's been winning. I might not even know about it if Leah wasn't winning. But here's the thing. ESPN said nothing. Now this is a man-woman situation. Does ESPN have men and women who work on their network? Of course they do. So why didn't they get one of the men or the women who work at ESPN to say something about this situation? Why is nobody saying anything about it from ESPN? They're not talking about it at all. Nobody's saying anything. Good Morning America is not talking about it. No network, no anybody has said anything about this situation while these girls are getting opportunities taken from them by biological men playing their sport as a female because they just decided that they're a female now. Here's where I stand on this, just so everybody knows where I'm at. If you were born with a penis, that means you are biologically a male. All right, that is science. Now, for the last 2+ years, we've been hearing a lot of people talk about follow the science. True or not? Science says if you are born with a penis, you are a male. You're born with a vagina, you are a female. Now, the fewer than 1% situations, 0.001% that you're born without either one, I am not qualified to speak on those. So whatever those are, I don't know what they are. Matthew Thomas was born with a penis. Matthew Thomas is a male. Now, if he wants to walk around and say, all right, well, I changed my name to Leah, fine, change the name to Leah. I mean, if Puff Daddy could change his name to P. Diddy and then change his name to Love or whatever the hell he calls himself now, if he could change his name and Jay-Z could be Jigga, then fine. Then Matthew can be Leah. Why not? All right, and if Matthew is a man, I guess he was dating girls, I'm guessing, up through this point, and then he decided to become a girl, and now he's going to date maybe men or girls or other men who are LGBTQ, whatever he wants to do in his personal life, day to day, do whatever you want. I don't mind. Doesn't bother me at all, has no effect on me. However, if you're going to play a sport, you got to play the sport that you are biologically slotted into. If you're born with a penis, you got to play male sports. Even if you want to live all day as a female, when you get in the pool or on the track or on the field or on the court, you're still a male. You got to play with the men, which means, let's say a boy, Brandon, he decides his name is Bria, and he's in high school. He's going to get on the girls' basketball team. He was the number 3 ranked player in the nation for boys. Now he's going to be the number 1 ranked nation. He could be number 50 for boys. He could be number 100 for boys. He starts playing with the girls. He's going to be the best player in the nation. Now, what's he going to go play for UConn and with Gino and dominate basketball and be the MVP in the WNBA? And everybody's just going to let this go? Nobody's going to say anything? I think somebody would eventually say something, but I think somebody got to get smacked in the face of the reality here before anybody says anything. The WNBA, speaking of basketball, as woke as the WNBA has proven themselves to be, last year or the last 2 years, they have done campaigns about Kelly Loeffler, who was the politician who was saying she was against the BLM stuff, and she was a part owner of the Atlanta Dream, and the WNBA staged a whole campaign to get her to lose her political campaign after she made those statements. Then it was, what was the other thing they did? When Breonna Taylor died by the bullets of police officers, WNBA dedicated their entire season to Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor don't play no basketball. She wasn't a basketball player, but they decided to get involved in that and talk about that. And that was black people and social issues. Now you got females getting their spots taken by men in sports, biological men in sports. The WNBA ain't got nothing to say. WNBA knows nothing. WNBA, they ain't having no meetings about this. They're not walking out about this. They're not putting T-shirts on. They're not kneeling during the national anthem. They're not doing anything about this one right here. And it's actual men taking spots from actual women. They ain't got nothing to say about this one. In actual sports. Things that had nothing to do with sports, they had plenty to say. Now something that's happening in sports, they ain't got nothing to say. And I'm just interested as to why people are so quiet on this. Well, again, I'm interested, but at the same time, I understand why. A couple of reasons. Number one, when it comes to the LGBTQ, people are deathly afraid of this group. People do not want to cross the LGBTQ group. And anybody who's watching this who happens to be LGBTQ, listen, I'm not against the LGBTQ, but I am against a male. If you are born a man and now you want to play sports with the girls, no. You are born a man, you got to play sports with the men for as long as you want to play sports. Now, if you want to live as a girl and hang with the girls, you want to go to dinner with the girls, you want to have a wedding and you want to be the bride, do whatever the hell you want to do, because that's not affecting anybody else's situation. Anybody who's all right with it, they can participate. They're not, they can stay their asses home. But in sports, let's say I got a daughter, or if you had a daughter, or you're a girl on the sports team, and LeBron James retires from the NBA next year, and he decides his new name is Lisa James, and he joins the WNBA and wins the MVP, everybody's just going to act like nothing's happening? They're going to act like this is all right? Is ESPN going to ignore this as well? Now, that might be a stretch, but is it really? What just happened? This guy's a D1 swimmer, and now he's swimming with the girls at D1 and busting their asses because men are just biologically different from females. Whether you want to say better, worse, stronger, faster, whatever, they're different. You're born a male, you got to compete with the males. It has nothing to do with your actual performance level. Even if he was coming in 2nd or 7th or 10th, he shouldn't be in there with the women because he is a male. He was born a man with a penis. That's where I stand on it. And I just want to know, not why ESPN and all them is not saying anything, because they're woke and they go along with whatever the agenda is supposed to be. So if the agenda is anti-Trump, or the agenda is wokeness, or the agenda is BLM, or the agenda is hate the cops, they're going to go right along with it because that's what they do. Or LGBTQ, they're going to go right along with whatever the agenda is that is told to them to do. They do whatever they're told to do. ESPN is a company, and then ESPN's personalities do whatever the company tells them to do. These guys are workers. All right, so do not ever listen to the Kendrick Perkins and the Richard Jeffersons and the Stephen A. Smiths and think that these guys are independent people with independent opinions. They are not allowed to have certain opinions working at that company. And if you think I'm lying, go find anyone who had an opinion that goes against the agenda, who expressed it on ESPN, and then look what happened to them after they did that, how much longer they worked at ESPN. All right, we all know the deal here. This is what it is. So do not let them tell you that they're one thing when they're actually another. So that's the thing with as far as ESPN goes. But what I want to know is why all the woke organizations who made so much noise about paying attention to social issues and the movement for change and social justice and all this stuff, they're sitting there letting this happen and nobody's saying a word. If I was a journalist, I would ask an NBA player, hey, LeBron James, there's a guy who's swimming at the University of Pennsylvania for 3 years. Now he decided he's a woman. Now he's on the women's team and beating all the women in swimming. How do you feel about that? And LeBron don't have to know about the situation. I wouldn't say, do you know about this, LeBron? I would say, LeBron, let me tell you what's happening. It would take me 30 seconds to tell him the situation like I just did. What do you think about that? What do you got to say about that? And I would suspect he would try to give me a no answer and not say anything about it. And I would hold him accountable for that. Because, dudes, you had a lot to say about other things that you probably don't know that much about, but you spoke on them. So let's talk about this one. You have a daughter, right? Don't LeBron got a daughter that she had a YouTube channel or some shit? All right, so you can speak on it. You're qualified. You got a daughter. What did that happen to your daughter? I would ask Dwayne Wade. All right, Dwayne Wade has a son who became a girl, right? Didn't his boy become a girl? Okay, now what if Dwayne Wade's boy, who became a girl, I'm assuming that child has the athletic genes of her father. So what if she becomes this amazing basketball player? Now at 16, 17, dominating, and the #1 player in the nation is knifing through the lane, dunking like Dwayne Wade used to do. Everybody's just gonna act like this is not a thing. Everybody's just gonna act like they don't see what's going on. Nobody's gonna say anything. I'm gonna say something. I would really be interested to find out how that situation turns out. And I wanna know why all the woke people who said they're gonna use their platform and speak on social issues all of a sudden get quiet on certain topics. These guys are not activists. These guys and girls, they are not activists. An activist is not a person who only speaks up when the topic is an accepted topic that everybody agrees we're going to go against it. Everybody agrees we're going to go against the police are so bad for black people. Everybody talked about that. That's not activism. All you're doing is following the crowd. Real activism, just like real journalism, requires you saying some things that go against the grain that people don't want you to say, that might piss off some people that even agree with you on other subjects. That's real activism. Is eventually you're going to say something that not everybody agrees with. And a real activist will do that. A real journalist is going to write something that even their own bosses, they might be a little bit uncomfortable with it, but you know what? In the name of journalism, we got to put this out because the truth is the truth, regardless of where it goes, where it came from, and who it offends. The truth is the truth. That's what journalism is about. And these sports folks are like journalists, but they're like talking journalists. So whatever you want to call it. I don't know if that's even a thing. But these are the people that are supposed to be telling you the truth, right? Isn't that what Stephen A. and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and Max Kellerman and whoever hosts the show? Isn't that what they're supposed to do? They're supposed to tell you the truth with their opinion, but tell you the truth about what's going on. So why is it that they're not talking at all about this subject that I know they know about? They follow sports for a living. They don't know, and they don't know anything. They don't want to say anything. These people are not journalists. They are not activists. They are not giving you the truth. They are giving you the agenda. And that is a whole different thing. Agenda and truth are damn near polar opposites. So I just want to make sure that y'all stay informed and stay awake. Not woke, but awake as to what's actually going on out here. And many of you who didn't know about this, go look it up. And you'll notice how few articles you even find on Google talking about this, because Google's on that side with agenda, and they aren't even paying any attention to this. And anything that gets published about it, they ain't putting it out. CNN, New York Times. None of them said anything about this. All these people talking all this stuff about everything that's going on. Nobody says anything. Nobody's written one word on this subject. You tell me. All that said, send me a text. Get my daily motivation free of charge every day straight to your phone. My number is 305-384-6894. It's free to text me there. I will text you back. You can actually have a text conversation with me there. Number 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre all day.